It's happening again. The New York Jets will be starting over completely as Joe Douglas has been fired, as we've seen by now, and Woody Johnson came out with a statement on it and his beliefs in the future of the New York Jets, while Aaron Rodgers' future stays up in the air, and we're going to break this down. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here. And guys, we understand the season's been miserable, but please subscribe to the channel. It does help us out a lot. We're not going to stop being Jets fans. Not now, not ever. We're going to support this team. We're not fake fans, so stick around. We're not going anywhere. But Joe Douglas is, as we know by now, Joe Douglas has been fired from the New York Jets in the middle of the season, exactly 6 weeks after Robert Saleh got fired. And, well, Woody Johnson came out with a statement on the firing of Joe Douglas soon after. Let's take a look at what he had to say. Johnson said, "Today I informed Joe Douglas he will no longer serve as the general manager of the New York Jets. I want to thank Joe for his commitment to the Jets over the last 6 years and wish him and his family the best moving forwards. Phil Savage will be the interim general manager for the remainder of the season. We will begin the process to identify a new general manager immediately." Great, I guess. Whatever, Joe. Not Joe. Whatever, Woody. Like, what? Okay, go hire someone else. Joe Douglas drafted well. He made the moves that, hindsight 2020, it didn't work out, but he made the moves that were heavily agreeable. Most of the moves he did, I agreed with. I understand 30-64, Matt. Like, you can't keep a general manager on with that record. And I'm not going to go out here and defend Joe Douglas and be the last line of his defense and die on the hill if Joe Douglas was a good general manager. But I'm going to be honest, and I imagine you'll feel similarly. I mean, is the next guy going to be better than Joe? We all know the problem is Woody Johnson, who's never going to sell this team, and we literally just have to wait for the day that Woody Johnson's no longer the owner, and we know how that day is going to come. Like, there's only one thing to happen for Woody Johnson to no longer own the team and for someone else to be the heir of it, if you get my drift. That's where we're at right now. It's literally where we're at. Because it doesn't matter who the Jets hire. It doesn't matter whatsoever. If Joe Douglas, who drafted well, had a draft where 4 straight picks, draft Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, and Breece Hall. I mean, the guy drafts Will McDonald, who looks good and is killing it with sacks. The guy went out there and got Olu Fashanu, who looks good. He was a great drafter, made the trade for Aaron Rodgers, was the GM to get the greatest, not the greatest player to ever put on a Jet, or the greatest NFL player of all time ever happened to play for the New York Jets. He's not the greatest Jet of all time or anywhere close, but you know what I'm saying. He's the greatest to ever put on a Jets uniform. And we're just in this situation where I don't trust whoever Woody Johnson's going to hire. I hope it's a good move. I guess hiring Joe Douglas wasn't a bad move necessarily through some of the moves he made, specifically drafting. But it's hard to have hope right now. It just feels like if we're having another full restart. NFL rebuilds should not take 5 years. Somehow the Jets have taken 14 years. And fun little stat is that the New York Jets, their playoff drought alone, Matt, I have to look because it's on my phone. The New York Jets, if their playoff drought was a person, it would be legally allowed to drive in 14 states. Go figure.
That is not the stat that I want to hear. You must be even more scared of that stat, knowing that you are not a good driver.
I literally just mentioned on a Knicks Digest video today that I failed my driver's test 5 times.
4 times. Then he passed it the 5th time. I know that because I watched the video. But
true.
You asked, is the next GM going to be worse than Joe Douglas? And his drafting could be. But think about it. 0 playoff appearances. Does it really matter if he's worse? Like, if the team can't even make the playoffs, sometimes it's not about getting a guy that's a little bit better. It's about getting the guy who can actually build a team that's a competitive team to actually potentially win a Super Bowl. Joe Douglas proved that he wasn't that guy, unfortunately. Like you said, he made a lot of really good moves that we agreed with. But at the end of the day, none of the teams were even close to making the playoffs. So how good were the moves really? I know there's a limited amount of things that he can do, but there are more things. Like he has say in who some of the coaches are. He has say in the way some things are ran, not just the players. He did put together a really good roster. That was pretty much all him. We keep saying it's what we thought was a great roster, and it wasn't. But you said a rebuild shouldn't take like 5 years or whatever you said. But the thing is, it's not just one rebuild. It's just a failed rebuild, a failed rebuild, a failed rebuild, a failed rebuild. And the thing that needs to change is just like you said, it's Woody Johnson, Chris. During this Jets playoff drought, right now it's 13 years. It's of course going to be 14 years. They're not going to make the playoffs. According to CBS Sports, they have a 0.4% chance to make it. They've had 5 different head coaches, 4 different general managers, and 1 owner. It sounds like we know what the common denominator is. Woody Johnson, he has to sell the team for this franchise to ever be successful, because if he hasn't realized that these rash and quick decisions are hurting the team by now, he's never going to realize that it's a problem, because he's been doing this at a really, really, really low level for way too long. And it's frankly embarrassing at this point. Me or you would have known not to fire your head coach after 5 games. There's every year,
They were
there's
2 and
1
3,
or 2
dude.
teams, 1 game below 500, 1 game out of the AFC East lead. Every single year, there are teams that start off poorly but find their way down the stretch. And Woody Johnson just completely robbed this team of an opportunity to do that. He, like we've said in previous videos, he pulled the fire alarm, waved the white flag button. Firing the coach is always a give up move. It has never been successful. Firing a head coach in the middle of the season has never, ever led to a playoff berth. The Jets were never going to be the outlier. Woody Johnson, he has to decide to sell the team. He's not going to sell the team. He's probably going to take another job overseas again in this coming year. And Christopher Johnson's going to take over, and he is not better. So the Jets, it's certainly looking really bad. And right now, you were talking about Aaron Rodgers and what his future is going to look like, but no one can tell you, probably not even Aaron Rodgers can tell you what the future of the Jets are going to look like. And what's so sad is I look at mock drafts and I'm like, the Jets have such a high pick. They could get a really good player. And then I'm just thinking, does it even matter? Because they have drafted great players in the first round, and it just 3 wins. Like, are you kidding me? With Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Olu in the first round, Will McDonald in the first round, Quinnen Williams in the first round. At some point, the players on the team have to mean something. They got it. The next step, trying to be a little bit more positive. The next step, sounds like they're going to go and find the new general manager first. And then you would imagine that the general manager and Woody Johnson will work together to go find the next head coach after that. So who the potential general managers are, I don't even have any names for you right now. I'm sure going forwards this week, starting probably right now, if you went and looked, starting definitely by tomorrow, there'll be a list of names out on New York Jets related media sources, and we can take a look and start having conversations about who should be the next GM of the New York Jets. But right now, we don't know who it's going to be. I do not envy their position, because they're going to come in and have no idea what the plan is, because usually when a team's this bad, you're going to go ahead and draft a quarterback in the first round, but I'm not even sure who you're going to take. Oh man, it's feeling scarily like the 2021 draft where there were amazing prospects like Jamar Chase, Micah Parsons, Penei Sewell, Kyle Pitts, and we went out and picked Zach Wilson. It's feeling like that again. There are elite defensive prospects in this draft, and there are just too many mock drafts mocking the Jets to take a quarterback who, if he was in the last draft, he would have been like the quarterback probably 6 off the board after Bo Nix, because that's where a lot of draft scouts have been ranking these Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, comparing them to the guys that came out last year. The quarterback class isn't good. So if you don't like this class, is the GM going to want to wait another year of watching horrible Jets play to go for a really good quarterback? There are a lot of potential choices he can make. None of them I'm not going to say none of them are good options, but they're definitely not fun options. The only fun option would be maybe Jameis Winston for a year, because if the Jets are going to suck, they might as well be fun to watch. And Jameis Winston would be fun to watch. But I don't want to root for fun. I would rather watch the least fun Jets team ever if they won games. But so far, it definitely doesn't look like they win games. And I would say hopefully this next GM can turn things around, but who knows?
I don't have faith in whoever that is. Why would I believe in Woody Johnson? Like, I just don't understand why there's any reason to believe in the guy. I mean, It's just unbelievable the way that you can draft so well in the first round. Quinnen Williams. You go get that 2021 draft, which I guess includes the second round with Breece Hall, and draft Will McDonald, who's good, and draft Olu Fashion, who's good. How is it that a team that drafts so many good first round picks, how do they suck, dude? I truly just do not get it. This team, I mean, I hate cursing on this. This team is a fucking disgrace. Like, they just are. They are the worst team in all of the 4 major American sports. There's not a question. Woody Johnson is the worst owner. He is just an absolute terrorist to just sports.
To successful football.
Yeah, he just is, dude.
Do you think he's anti-football?
14 years is impossible.
Yeah, no. 14 years. 14 years. How do you not luck into the playoffs at least once? How do you not luck into the playoffs at least once? It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. Jets fans, I mean, I know we're embarrassed. Sorry, I saw a mosquito. Jets fans, I know we're embarrassed. I mean, I'm more interested in friggin' mosquitoes than the Jets at this point. There's no reason to go. There's no reason to go to games. There's no reason to watch them. I mean, I just wish there was some way that Woody Johnson could actually feel the impact of the New York Jets sucking, but he doesn't. He doesn't care about the New York Jets. He doesn't know what he's doing. He frankly doesn't. No one who cares about the New York Jets is leaving to go be the ambassador to the United Kingdom because their friend became the president of the United States. No one does.
Yeah, Chris, I wouldn't trust my brother to run a fantasy football for team for me. If I owned a real NFL team, I would just never ever give that up. I can't imagine. That just screams
the best job ever.
Lack of effort, lack of care for the team. It's really disgraceful. You said that a lot, and it's really true. The Jets, it's got to start with the owner. He's been one of the worst owners in the league. I think the Redskins / Washington football team's owner Snyder was worse, but who even knows? At least they went to the playoffs
for 14 straight years.
No,
it's just whatever. Well, we're gonna keep tuning into the New York Jets because we're not gonna be bandwagon fans. We're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep hoping that something works out. Hopefully, Woody Johnson. Hopefully, his days are numbered. Not as the Jets owner, because there's only one way for him to stop being the Jets owner. So hopefully his days as the Jets owner are numbered. It's infuriating, dude. I don't know. At least the Knicks are all right. At least I can enjoy watching the UFC. Because there's no point in watching the Jets the rest of the year. I have no idea if I'm going to, if I'm being honest. I mean, I know they have the bye this week. I'm just so unmotivated to watch football as a whole until the playoffs because watching the Jets. I don't even care about. I don't think I'm going to watch football until I start gambling on the playoffs. I really don't think I am because I just don't feel a need to. I really don't feel a need. The Jets have just made football so unfun for me.
Yeah, I want to see what type of effort Rodgers puts in, and I'm always tuned into the guys that are way down the roster. I want to see Malachi Corley play more because I really feel like he could be a really fun player. But outside of Malachi Corley, like.
Hopefully he gets traded for his sake.
Malachi?
Yeah, and Sauce.
No, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
I hope they all get traded for their sake.
We'll see what the plan is. Whoever gets traded, or if someone gets traded, which
congratulations,
absolutely they could. They're probably gonna be very happy.
They should be, but guys. Like most of us, y'all aren't getting traded away from your fandom from the Jets. So make sure to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, keep tuning in. We're going to try to not be just angry at the Jets all the time, but this is what happens when you root for the Jets, guys.
And Chris is definitely watching football this Sunday. That was a lie. Or actually not this Sunday. Next Jets game. Bye week this week.
I know for a fact I'm going to watch the next Jets game 100%. I'm going to tune in for every second of that game and just be miserable no matter what happens. I'm loving this. No, I actually will watch the next Jets game. I do want to see what happens. I care about watching, I don't know, maybe they'll win every game and that'd be funny. And still, I do like the Jets. It's tough to ever really stop. It's tough to stop being interested. But guys, this video ran long. Have a great day and go Jets.